Hello and welcome to CIPD Bitesize. In this video, we're going to look at the Wellbeing at Work Unit 50SO7 AC2.3, Analyze how organisational context shapes well-being. Now, I like it. The question and the marking guide question are both the same, and this is the last question in section 1. So you have 2,000 words total, 333 words basically per AC. I would, before you start this question, do a word count. How many words have you got to attack this question with? Because this isn't one where I think you've got to throw a load of words at it. You could be able to squeeze this one in slightly under, but see how you are. So the first thing that we always do is we break down the question into its component parts. So analyze, that's your verb. If you don't address the verb, you don't pass the question. How organizational context shapes well-being. Okay. Now, when we're talking about shaping well-being, we're talking about impact of well-being practices, how organizational context, toxic leadership negatively impacts well-being. Supportive leadership positively impacts well-being. If everyone's part of the journey, if everyone's got a say, you're more likely to come together. Culture, how culture fits with them. Start to think about it from that sort of context, how you're approaching it. Okay, rigid management structures, micromanagement, or regular reviews, annual reviews. Start to think about how an organization interacts and how it impacts well-being. So, your verb is analyze. To study or examine something in detail in order to discover and understand more. Now, I break this question down into 2 action points. Explain with evidence how organizational context shapes well-being, and then explain with a different evidence/case study how organizational context shapes well-being. So, I would first explain it, and then I would explain it with a case study. So I would explain it with evidence, research, stats, data, statistics are a great way to reinforce the point. And then I would find a case study that reinforces it again. I would reinforce it twice because you're analyzing. So if you're analyzing, you have to be open to multiple sources of information, which is why I would explain it with 2 different sources of information. That makes sense. And I will build out my question that way. Now remember, CIPD loves CIPD. So when you're looking for research and stuff, I would always recommend their type of research, their case studies, their information. I'm probably going to focus more on case studies when it comes to places to read, because that way you're getting multiple reinforces, you're getting multiple references, you're getting multiple citations that you can use within your answer so that you can get to the response quicker. Because what I'm going to assume is that you're tighter on word count because some of the questions are a bit chunkier earlier on, so that you need to really sort of attack this question in the most efficient and effective way possible. So, some recommended reading. CIPD research, Making a Living or Making a Life. Really, really, really good bit of research. CIPD fact sheet, Wellbeing at Work. It has around about 10 case study resources that are connected to it. And then people management. Is your firm guilty of well-being washing? Some people call it well-being washing. Some people call it care washing. As in, we really care about our people. Now everyone back to work. We have numbers that you can call if you're struggling with it. But if you actually tell them that you're struggling with your mental health, it's like, oh, come on, crack on. Basically telling people you care, but not actually caring. And there are many organizations that are guilty of this. Some of you may have worked for organizations that are like, oh yeah, they say they love all this stuff, but actually their actions are completely against it. People management. Is your firm guilty of well-being washing? Is a really, really interesting piece, because obviously it can help you analyze how the negative element of organizational context shapes well-being. So you can say all the right things, but if you're not doing the right things, the organizational context negatively impacts well-being, because you're saying we care and then you're acting like you don't. So again, making a living or making a life comes at it from a positive element. Well-being washing or care washing comes at it from a positive story first, and then comes at it from a negative. So you come at it from both angles. So you're analysing it fully. So you're answering the question, and then you're getting a pass. We're here to pass. We're here to pass. Okay. Now, as always, what we try and do is we come up with a bit of a fictitious scenario to help you contextualize the question, to help you understand it, and to come at it from a different angle. And to do that, we are going to be gnomes. Obviously, I mean, nothing says analyze organizational context of that shapes well-being more than gnomes. But it's the case of the grumbling garden gnomes. So once upon a time, in a garden overflowing with vibrant flowers and mischievous squirrels, lived a colony of garden gnomes. These gnomes, blessed with their pointy hats, were a cheerful bunch and always ready for a good game of hide and seek among the roses. However, their happiness took a nosedive when a gardener with a rather eccentric fellow named Bartholomew arrived. Bartholomew, you see, had a particular obsession with symmetry. He meticulously arranged the gnomes in a perfect straight lines, their whimsical poses now frozen in rigid formations. The gnomes, once free to frolic and explore, were now confined to these monstrous rows, with vibrant personalities like squash blossoms under Bartholomew's overzealous pruning shears began to wilt. Grumbling increased. Whispers of tyrannical toppery echoed through the rose bushes. One particular adventurous gnome named Barnaby decided to rebel and meticulously planned an escape, recruiting his fellow gnomes with promises of rediscovering their playful spirit. Their plan, a daring nighttime operation to dismantle the rigid rows and reclaim their beloved chaos. The escape was a glorious success. Gnomes tumbled, rolled, and somersaulted back to their natural habitat. The garden, once a prison of perfectly aligned ornaments, erupted into joyous chaos. The gnomes, finally free to express themselves, regained their sparkle. Now, the analogy of this is gnomes are the employees, the garden's the organization, Bartholomew's the rigid management style, straight lines are strict rules, micromanagement, and lack of autonomy, and the escape is finding ways to thrive within constraints or seeking a more suitable environment and increasing people leaving, basically. The lesson, just like gnomes, employee well-being flourishes when they have freedom to express themselves, contribute meaningfully, and experience a sense of autonomy. A rigid and controlling organizational structure, much like Bartholomew's obsession with symmetry, can stifle creativity, dampen spirits, and ultimately lead to employee disengagement and burnout. You can have the right things written on a piece of paper, you can have the right things written in a list in terms of we care, we listen, we do, but people are not all the same. Some people need different things. Some people need to be creative. Some people need to take pauses. Not everyone can function within the same rigid structure. You need to give people some areas of grey where they can be themselves and they can flourish. Flexibility and autonomy, empowering employees with choices, allowing individuals to express, fosters a sense of ownership and engagement. You want people to feel like they're part of the business. You want people to be themselves. A supportive culture, a positive inclusion and work environment where employees feel valued and respected is crucial for overall well-being. Meaningful work, providing employees with the opportunities to contribute to something larger than themselves and experience a sense of purpose is essential. If you're feeling like you're just a robot in a system, you're not meaningfully enabling that organization. And it doesn't matter the role. Every part of every job has, the reason that job exists is because it's essential to the job. Everything is a cog in a machine. I don't care if you're a director, I don't care if you're a cleaner. Everybody has the right to feel like it's meaningful work, because it is meaningful work, because the organization doesn't function if they don't fulfill their part. And everyone needs to feel like their part is important. And it doesn't matter whether it is, creating this or doing that or anything. It's just about analyzing how organizations treat everybody. Everybody has the right to feel like their work is meaningful. And if they do, they will perform better. It's not any more complicated than that. So that's the purpose of this analogy. Absolutely best to look at this unit, and we'll catch you on the next one.